Adams.
Present, teacher.
John Cooper.
Present, teacher.
Ben Donaldson.
Here, teacher.
Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn. Has anyone seen Huckleberry Finn?
No, teacher.
I suppose he's down at the river associating with raftmen and other worthless people. Children, I want Huckleberry to serve as an example to you. I want you to realize how he's wasted his time. Why, I don't suppose he even knows that Gaul was divided into 3 parts. And I'm sure he doesn't know that Newton discovered the law of gravity. But we mustn't get angry at him. We must feel sorry for him. Poor Huckleberry. He must be a very unhappy boy.
I did not, Ben.
Oh, no, honest.
Hello, Joe. Sam, Harry, Elliot.
Say, Huck, my mother says that Mississippi water isn't fit to drink.
Oh, that ain't so. Mississippi water's a lot better for you to drink than a lot of that old clear water that ain't got no mud in it.
She said muddy water's unhealthful.
Why, that ain't so. You look at the graveyards, that tells the tale. Why, trees don't grow with the shucks in Cincinnati graveyards, but in St. Louis graveyards, they grow up about 800 feet tall. It's all on account of the water the folks drank before they's laid up. Cincinnati corpse don't richen the soil any.
Say, Huck, lend me your pipe, will you?
No, smoking's bad for you. Say, is tomorrow sure enough the last day of school?
Sure enough.
Gosh, this term sure has gone fast.
As for you, you ain't been in school.
Say, did you hear who's going to get promoted yet?
No.
Tell Huck what you heard.
I heard the teacher say she was sick of sending notes to the widow Douglas.
I figured she'd get tired of it sometime.
Don't you know it ain't right to read other folks' mail?
Well, sure I do. It's bad luck, too. Besides, I didn't read it. I tore 'em up and ate 'em. That takes the curse off of it. What else did you hear?
The teacher says she was going to see the widow tomorrow morning. She says you weren't going to get promoted. That's sure bad. Give me a suck in your pipe, will you, Huck?
Yeah, that sure is bad. Here the widow takes me in and gives me good victuals and nice clothes, and what do? I don't go to school and don't get promoted. That's what I do.
Won't you run away to your pap?
Oh, his pap's dead. Ain't that so, Huck?
No, I judge he's alive. They thought they found him floating on his back in the river, but shucks, anybody knows a drunk don't float on his back. Well, I judge Pap's down the river somewheres, but even if I knew where he was, I wouldn't want to live with him. Gosh, I just can't help from thinking about that widow when she hears that Oh, but shucks, I weren't cut out for no schooling anyway. And if the widow gets mad at me and starts ranting down on me, I'll just up and tell her that I'd... Oh, but then I suppose she'd start into crying, and I'd feel ornery and low down, and... I told you shouldn't have smoked that pipe.
Something I had for lunch.
Gee, that widow's gonna feel mighty bad. Oh. And wait till Miss Watson hears about it.
Jim, if Huckleberry is not here before I say grace, he will go without his dinner.
Yes, Miss Watson.
You may serve my sister and myself.
Yes, ma'am. They're waiting for you, Huck. Hurry up.
I'm hurrying.
Well, she can't say grace until I takes in the food. I'll help you, Huck.
Thanks, Jim.
I lost a sock someplace. I won't have time to look for it now.
For this food we are about to receive, we give thanks. Amen. Huckleberry, where have you been?
Well, ma'am, you see, that's a long story.
We have plenty of time, Huckleberry.
Well, ma'am,
Straighten up, Huckleberry. Well?
Maybe you had to stay after school, Huck.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I did.
Why did you have to stay after school?
Well, that's a long story, too, Miss Watson, ma'am.
Was it because you wanted to help the teacher? Wipe the blackboard?
Yes, ma'am. You know, that's just what I did.
I've seen the schoolroom, Huckleberry. There are 3 blackboards. Adding conservatively, that means you spent 1 hour at each blackboard.
Then maybe Huck told the teacher he wanted to stay and sweep out the schoolroom.
Why, Miss Douglas, ma'am, how did you know that?
Yes, you seem to know more about Huckleberry's afternoon than he does himself.
I know all about Huckleberry. I know so much about it that I got him a present.
A present? Well, why, it's a sure enough Barlow knife. Thank you, ma'am.
I should have kept it till tomorrow. I bought it for a promotion present.
Well, thank you, ma'am, but suppose they don't see fit to promote me.
Oh, don't be silly, Huck. We know we're going to be promoted now, don't we?
Yes, ma'am. We know that.
We hope we're right. I suggest we eat. Huckleberry, did you use your right stocking to wipe blackboards? 1 hour of Bible reading before bed won't do either of your souls any harm.
Read me that last part again, Huck.
Last part? All right. Take care of yourself and remember we loves you. Your loving wife, Jenny. You know, Jim, she don't write half bad.
She don't write it, Huck. She pay a man to write it for her. Course the words is hers, and the sentiments and such. Read me that part about little Joey again, Huck.
Joey? All right. Let's see. Joey is over his bilious fever and is getting better every day. Looks like he is going to be a big man like you. That's all. How long they been in the Free State, Jim?
Oh, ever since my wife's pappy saved up enough money to buy him from the Thatchers. 2 or 3 years. You know, I'm going there one of these days, Huck. I'm saving up enough money to buy myself. And when I get enough money to buy me with, I'm going to head straight for that old Free State. And I'm going to see my wife and little Joey, and I'm going to sling around and be free.
How much money you figure it'll take, Jim?
Oh, about $500, that's all. Of course, sometimes I think it would be better just to up and leave.
Well, you shouldn't even think of such a thing. You belong to Mrs. Douglas.
I know, Huck, I'm her slave. But sometimes I can't help wondering if it's right.
Well, that's abolitionist talk. Well, being a slave is like having to wear shoes. You got to accept it whether you like it or not.
Well, if God intended you to wear shoes, why weren't you born like that?
Well, that's what I mean. You were born a slave, weren't you, Jim?
You knows that, Huck.
Well, God intended you to be a slave.
Huckleberry!
Yes, ma'am?
It's nearly bedtime, Huckleberry, and there's just time for that Bible reading. Don't think I've forgotten. Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself. Huckleberry, do you smell something burning?
No, ma'am.
And opened her mouth without measure, and their glory, and their multitude. I'm sure I smell something burning. Huckleberry, have you been smoking?
No, ma'am.
And their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it, and the mean shall be brought down, and the mighty shall be humbled, and they that...
Oh, God! I am on fire! Ooh, gosh!
Huckleberry!
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm going.
Huck,
Yes'm.
my sister was very angry, Huck.
Yes'm.
I'm afraid you and I didn't have any excuse, did we?
No, ma'am. But I am sorry about this, though, ma'am.
That doesn't matter, Huck. It was the lying that mattered. You told my sister you hadn't been smoking, and you had.
Oh, that wasn't a lie, ma'am. You see, that was my pipe.
Whose was it, Huck?
It was Jim's. I was just sort of keeping it warm for him, keeping it lit like, and... I'm sorry, ma'am. It was my pipe.
I thought it was, Huck. Now sit down. Tell me why you lied about it.
Well, I think it's mainly on account of the shoes, I think.
The shoes?
You see, shoes and my feet don't seem to get on together. I guess it's 'cause I ain't wore 'em much, and... Well, don't your toes ever get hot?
Well, Huck, yes. But I'd look kind of funny without any shoes, wouldn't I?
Yes, I guess there's some people shoes is intended for, but the way it is with me, I no more'n get 'em on and my feet don't work right. And, well, I get about halfway to school, and I know I won't be able to make it if I keep 'em on, so I sit down and take 'em off, and after I get 'em off, I know I won't be able to go to school without 'em, and after I get 'em off, I know I can't put 'em back on without cooling 'em off in the river. And by the time I get 'em cooled off in the river, I know I can't get the shoes back on till my feet get dry, and by the time my feet get dry, well, they're hot again, and school started, and I'm tardy. And the only thing that'll take my mind off of being tardy is a good pipe of tobacco. I guess that's why I smoke, ma'am.
What's all that got to do with lying, Huck?
Well, I figure Miss Watson, she'd be awful fussed if she knew I smoked, so when she asked me if I did, I say I didn't.
I see. Then the shoes are really the cause of it all.
Yeah, yes'm, the shoes.
Suppose you wore your shoes all the time.
All the time? You mean day and night?
Well, you'd take 'em off before you went to bed, but that'd be the only time, and then they wouldn't worry you. If they didn't worry you, well, you wouldn't want to smoke, and you wouldn't have to lie.
It might work, ma'am.
I think it would.
We'll try it.
If that doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Yes, ma'am.
Good night, Huck.
Good night. Hello, Pap.
Ain't you a sweet-scented dandy, though? Think you're a big bug, don't you?
Maybe I am, maybe I ain't.
Don't give me none of your lip. Educated, too, they say. You know how to read and write. Who told you might meddle in such highfalutin foolishness, huh? Who told you?
Well, the widow, she told
Oh,
me.
the widow, huh? Anyone tell the widow she could put a shovel into something that ain't none of her business? Anyone tell her, huh?
Well, she just did it because...
Are you her son? Has she got any legal right to you? That's right. Here. Let me hear you read.
Oh, Pap, what are you doing?
Come on, now, let me hear you read.
The story of George Washington must serve to teach every young American the value of truth, bravery, and goodness.
It's so. You can do it.
We must at all times trust that...
Stop showing off.
Pap, if you don't be quiet, you're going to have the widow up here.
Well, maybe I want the women.
Huckleberry!
I'm pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
Oh, just leave him alone with me, will you, ma'am?
Leave him be, Hucky. Said I wanted to see him, didn't I?
What about Mr. Finn?
About Huck here, the way you've been putting frills on him and teaching him to read.
I should think you'd be thankful for that.
Thankful. His mother couldn't read. None of his family could read. I can't. Can't even read my own name. I don't like for my son to be taken up with all that nonsense.
It's the first time I've ever heard of you even being interested in your son.
You like him quite a bit, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Then, you'd be willing to pay so you can keep him.
I suppose you've decided just how much your son is worth to you.
Well, he's sort of puny. You get a better slave for the price. But then I always has to put up with people coming up to me and saying,
Oh, I hear you Huck can read. And write, too.
Well, I guess about $800 helped me forget all that.
That's a great deal of money for me to raise. When would you expect it?
I'll give you a week. You'll get it all right. Leastways, you better. For Huck will be right back with his pap. You're a clever old crow. You'll get it all right.
Hey, don't you call her that!
That'll be a week from tonight.
Sorry you came, ma'am.
We all are, Huck.
Well, don't worry about that money, ma'am. Let him take me.
No, Huck. We get it somehow. Then he won't be able to pester us anymore.
But shucks, ma'am, I just plumb ain't worth $800. I'm always doing something wrong. Breaking something. Lying. Burning up something. Or just smoking.
Those things aren't important, Huck. Tomorrow alone will be big enough reward for anything I could ever do for you.
Tomorrow, ma'am?
You don't know how proud I'll be of you. My boy. To hear him call your name and see you step up there and shake hands with the teacher so I can turn around to all those doubting Thomases and say, see, I told you Huck could do it.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you understand. If we have to make some little sacrifice, you'll more than repay it. Isn't that true, sister?
Yes.
Good night, Huck.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night, Huckleberry.
Good night, Miss Wilks.
Get in. Start rolling. Get up.
What?
Get some wood for the fire. Come on, shake yourself. How'd you get wet?
Fell in the river.
And what you got to whistle about? Come on. Let's get something inside of us. Fetch that spider. I'm going to see the widow. Won't be long and I won't be drinking that blackstrap or smoking this dog leg. Well, ain't you going to ask me to leave her alone? Or has you quit grudging me the money?
Yes, Pap, I judge you has. If you can get the money, I guess she deserves it. Ouch! Jim!
Huck!
Gosh, I didn't know it was your fire. I just followed the footprints like an Indian scout. Say, what are you doing here?
You wouldn't tell on me if I was to tell you. I run off.
Jim.
I had to, Huck. I had to.
You can't do that. You belong to the widow.
She was fixing to sell me, Huck. I heard her talking about it last night. She said she needed the money bad. Had to give it to your pap.
Oh.
If one of them slave traders got me, I never would get to that free state. I never would see my wife or little Joey.
You ain't gonna be sold, Jim.
Then you want to help me? Then I'm going to be free.
I'm gonna take you back to the widow's tonight. Now that I'm gone, she won't have to pay Pap no money. She won't have to sell you now.
Still, I kind of like this freedom. It's mighty nice to breathe your own air in your own chest. Couldn't you and me sort of float on down, Huck? I built a powerful raft.
Don't talk like that. I suppose you know what they do with runaway slaves when they catch them. Where's your stuff, Jim? I'll take you back into town with me tonight.
You don't have to take me, Huck.
Well, I like to go to town. I'll sneak in after dark and see what Pap's doing. I'll go in a disguise, like a little girl. But don't you tell the widow you seen me now, you understand? Because she thinks I'm dead. Well, if she don't, she soon will. I made out like I was murdered. I had to. It's the only way I could shake off Pap.
I bet she's mighty full of sorrow.
Oh, doggone it, I wished I could tell the widow I ain't dead, but then she'd keep me and Pap would start in again and... Say, you got a lot of right in making me feel bad. You wait here about 5 or 10 minutes. We don't want nobody should see us together. I don't think nobody will recognize me, do you?
Nobody, Huck.
Now remember, you go right straight through town to the widow's and no stopping, you hear?
I've been promised, Huck.
All right. Well, here I go. So long.
Goodbye, Huck.
I thought I heard someone out there. What's the matter, child?
Oh, please, ma'am. There were a crowd of men coming down the street, and they looked so angry and fussed up that, I got frightened.
Of course. Come in, child. This is no time for a young girl to be out alone.
No, ma'am.
What might your name be?
Sarah Williams.
Well, sit down, Sarah Williams.
Thank you, ma'am.
Whereabouts do you live?
Crosstown. What are those men doing out there?
Haven't you heard? There's been a murder. Oh, everybody's riled up about it.
Really?
Yes. You probably knew the boy. Huck Finn is his name.
Huck Finn? Oh, yes, I knew him tolerably well.
Would you do me a favor, child? Will you take a needle out of this and thread it for me? I have my glasses with me.
Yes, ma'am. They don't know who did it, do they, ma'am?
They say it was done by a runaway slave named Jim. What's the matter, child? Have you got the fan tods? Sit down.
No, I've got to go, ma'am.
I was just telling this little girl about the murder, Joe. What did you say your name was?
Mary Williams.
I thought you said it was Sarah.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Sarah Mary Williams.
I'll most likely be late. We'll be looking along the river and then trying the islands.
Will they put him in jail when they find him?
We don't put that kind in jail.
I'd better be going, ma'am.
What's your real name? Is it Bill or Tom or Bob or what is it?
Don't you go poking fun at a little girl like me, ma'am. I gotta get home.
Girl, I knew you were a boy the minute you caught that sewing basket. When a girl tries to catch anything in her lap, she always throws her knees apart. She don't clap them together like you did. And the next time you set out to thread a needle, don't hold the thread still and fetch the needle up to it. Hold the needle still and fetch the thread up to it.
Yes. Oh, look behind you, ma'am.
Jim! 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 They're coming after you.
Who, Huck? What?
We gotta get back to the river. Run! Head for the island. We gotta get to your raft.
What they want me for?
Murder.
Murder? Who did I ever murder, huh?
They think you murdered me. What's that?
That's just a wreck, Huck.
I'm gonna take a look. Never can tell. May find some food.
We ain't got time.
I reckon we got time for that. I don't think nobody will find us in this storm.
I don't reckon there's a thing alive on this boat.
You look in there, Jim, and I'll look in here.
Huck's Pap.
Did you find anything, Jim?
Nothing, Huck. We better get off this boat right this instant. There's a dead man in there. I wouldn't go in there if I was you. It's ghastly.
Come on, let's get out of here.
And there's no ways tired, 'cause I seeking for a city. Hallelujah, hallelujah. That's a mighty snug little shelter, Huck.
Oh, I judge it's all right. Here, Jim, I'll take my turn at steering now.
No, that's all right, Huck. I like steering. Seems like I'm helping the old river to get me free.
Just as you like.
I figures we ought to reach Cairo tomorrow night, don't you, Huck?
I figure so.
That sure will be heaven to me. And I've got only one person to thank, and that's you, Huck.
You know why I'm doing it, don't you?
I don't know why you's doing it, but still in all you's doing it. I don't figure that even an abolitionist could do a better job than you's doing, Huck.
Don't you call me that. You ain't in no free state yet. We might pass right on by Cairo. Just go right on by it.
But the old Ohio joins the Mississippi there. We sure to see the blue waters of the old Ohio.
Well, we might pass it at nighttime.
Then we'll see the lights.
There's only about 12 houses there.
We won't miss it, 'cause I'll smell it. I'll smell that free state. I ain't going to miss this chance. I's going to be free. Nobody's going to take Jim back now. I ain't a slave no more, and I ain't going to be a slave no more. 'Cause I's nearing Cairo, and I ain't going to miss it. The Lord won't let me miss it. Will you, Lord? Huck, I didn't know where you was at.
I was just around. Been borrowing.
You sure has. Now, let's see now. We has 1, 2...
Oh, don't count those, Jim. It's bad luck to count stuff you're going to eat. It's like shaking out a tablecloth after sundown or touching a rattlesnake skin.
Whew, I didn't know about that. I reckon I better be careful. Huck?
Yes, Jim?
While you was gone, I was sort of thinking that maybe I ain't being square making you float down the river and making an abolitionist out of you.
Oh, shucks, you ain't making me. I has to go down the river.
I know, Huck. But what would you do if you was to hear that your pappy wasn't gonna pest nobody no more? Would you go back then?
No, because I know it wouldn't be true. My pappy could never stop causing people misery.
But suppose he was dead.
Well, of course, that'd be different. I'd have to take you back. Oh, but don't talk so low, Jim. I figure it'll be a long time before Pap kicks off. By that time, you'll be a granddaddy.
Yeah, Huck.
But there is something sort of bothering me, Jim.
What's that, Huck?
It's this here borrowing. Sort of pesters my conscience something awful. Of course, we tend to pay 'em back.
Oh, sure. Yet I must say it sort of bothered me too, Huck.
Hey, perhaps we better pick out a few things and promise not to borrow 'em anymore so we could borrow the other things.
That's a good idea, Huck. What we going to cut out? Melons?
Melons? Melons is awful good and necessary.
Then we'll cut out the eggs.
Well, eggs taste mighty good on an empty stomach. I tell you what, we'll cut out crab apples and persimmons.
Yeah, they won't be ripe for a long time anyhow.
Besides, I hate 'em anyway. Boy, this certainly is a lovey. Lovey. That's French for life. The widow told me.
Oh, lovey. I never did learn that word. Don't the Frenchmen use the same talk that we does?
No. You wouldn't be able to understand a word they said. Not a single word, Jim.
Well, now, I'll be dang busted. Don't none of them talk like us?
Only the kings and the important ones, but not most of them.
Well, now, that's mighty silly of them. How come they all don't talk like us?
Well, that'd be just like saying, why doesn't a cat or a cow talk like us? It's the same thing.
Oh, no, it ain't. Is a cat a man?
No.
Is a cow a man?
No.
Is a Frenchman a man?
Yeah.
Well, then, Dad, blame it, why don't he talk like a man? Answer me that. You see? Huck, wonder how much money them kings get.
Kings? Oh, kings get about $100 a month.
And what they got to do?
Nothing. They just sit around.
No.
Sure.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm. Sit around except when they got a war. And they go to war. But if they ain't got a war, why, they just lazy around and hunting. They go hunting and... What's that? That's that old steamboat. Then other times, when things get dull, they just hang around the harem.
Round the which?
Harem. It's a place where he keeps his wife. Solomon had one. You know, Solomon had 1,000,000 wives.
Well, I'll be doggone. And yet they say Solomon was the wisest man that ever lived.
He was the wisest man. The widow told me so.
I don't care what the widow told you. He wasn't no wise man. You know about that child he was going to chop into? Now, wasn't that the beatinest notion in the world? What use is a half a child?
Doggone it, Jim, you'd gone and missed the whole darn point of the thing.
Well, I knows what I know. Now, mind you, the real point is down deeper. It lays in the way that Solomon was raised. Now, you take a man what has about 5 million children running around the house, why, he'd soon chop a child in two as a cat. There's plenty more. A child or two more or less wasn't no consequences of Solomon. Now, what make him so wise?
Jim, it just looks like I can't teach you anything.
Maybe I was just a plain old chucklehead. Huck! Wake up! The steamboat is heading straight for us.
Oh, gosh, maybe they're just fooling.
They're getting powerful close for fooling.
Well, look, get outside, Jim. You can't tell who's on that boat.
Bring him over here. Come on. Get him over here. Raft on the port bow, hard to starboard.
You get him!
Is this the broad-famed hospitality of the South? Don't forget my friend. We won't. I'm coming, Doc.
Would you fellas like a little help? Are you hurt?
Hurt. The food on that boat is simply awful. I couldn't have stood it another minute. Ha-ha there, friend. They nearly forgot you. But I'm not the man to leave a friend on a cheese crate like that. What do you call this? I suppose you're wondering why we disembarked.
Well, you did leave sort of quick like.
Son, as you go through life, you'll find that there's some men have a sense of humor. Others have none. The captain of that boat belongs to the latter class. I was just trying to show him a few little tricks.
Yeah, card tricks. He got mad, and here we are.
Say, what's that, sir?
Well, don't you know? That's a brick of gold.
Gold?
50 carats. Am I right?
Quite right.
Gosh, it's the biggest lump I ever saw.
Nevertheless, that's pure Peruvian gold. The natives smuggle it past the mine police between their toes. It's shipped to this country in hollow knob carries, brought to you at a price. Do you like it?
Oh, yes.
Well, it's yours, my lad, it's yours. All we ask in return is a trip to Pikesville aboard this vessel of yours. Is it a bargain?
Gee, this is an awful lot of gold for just a little trip like that. Well, this gold is worth more than the whole raft.
Well, think nothing of it.
That's right. Think nothing of it. In fact, I think the advantage might be ours.
There you is, Hook.
Thanks, Jim.
Alas, to think I should have lived to be leading such a life. To think I should have to do without the respect that is rightfully mine.
Here, here.
Oh, you wouldn't believe me. The world never believes. So let it go. What does this matter, the secret of my birth?
You mean you're a...
No, I am a duke. My pappy was the Duke of Bridgewater. As a child, my inheritance was snaked from me. My title.
That sure is awful.
So if you'll just toss me that plate of vittles, of course, I'll have to be served first from now on.
Oh, yes,
You can just call me my lord or your dukeship.
Yes, your dukeship.
More blackberries, your dukeship?
Thanks.
More fish, your dukeship?
Thanks.
See here, Billswater, I'm reluctant to mention this, but you're not the only person who's had a secret of his birth. You're not the only person who's been robbed of his high degrees.
What do you mean?
Can you keep a secret, Billswater?
I'll try.
I am Louis the 17th, son of Louis the 16th and Marie Antoinette. I am the rightful king of France. You can call me Your Majesty.
Yes, Your Majesty. Would you care for some more fish, Your Majesty?
Here, boy. Sit down and eat with us.
Can I, sir? Is it all right?
Sure. A pluribus unum, meaning cut yourself a piece of catfish.
Thank you.
In fact, it was because of the Queen I was thrown off that boat.
Queen? Which Queen?
The fifth queen.
Extremely inconvenient, too. Interrupts our entire itinerary. We should have been in Pikesville by now.
What were you going to do in Pikesville, Your Majesty?
Visit our brother and his two wards, our nieces. Humble relatives, true, but they expect these things of us.
Then, you two are brothers then, huh?
Oh, yes.
How long has it been since you seen this other brother?
Well, now, let's see. This will explain it all.
Gosh, I doubt whether they'll be able to recognize you now or not.
I hope not. That is, I hope so. Imagine not seeing your brother for 40 years. And our dear little nieces, how glad they'll be to see us.
What makes you so sure they'll be so glad? I don't think this craft will exactly impress them.
But we're not going to arrive upon this. We shall arrive... Get off the tail of my coat.
Oh, sorry.
On a St. Louis steamboat.
Well, what are we going to pay the captain with, poker chips?
I get your point, Bilgewater. Unfortunately, I left a mighty fine wallet aboard that boat.
Did you see that pocketbook, too?
Did I see it? There was a roll of bills that you could... I suppose we shall have to earn some money. No, I thought not. The celebrated Dr. Armand de Monteville of Paris will lecture tonight on the science of phrenology.
What's Phenology?
Phrenology. It's the study of the head. The king here can read your character by the bumps on your head.
Incidentally, the boy here has a mighty fine specimen. Lots of bumps.
That's from diving in the river at low water.
Here is the darling, the histrionic muse. Boy, have you ever trod the boards?
No.
Oh, then you haven't lived. Oh, to feel the thrill of an audience. I remember they threw roses at me in Baltimore.
Tell them what they threw in Chicago.
I noticed a little town down the river apiece. We'll have some of these printed, and tonight we shall take our place among the immortals.
What's immortals?
Dead people.
Get away, you young varmints. Sold all your papers?
Every one of them.
Now for the last and most important. Ladies and children not admitted. If that doesn't catch him, I don't know Missouri.
Hey, Riley, look at this.
Bilgewater, old man. That's a nice little capital to have in reserve in case our relatives are reluctant to give.
But it don't rest easy on my conscience to be traveling with runaway, murdering slaves.
That's as good as money in the bank, as long as we keep our young friend in sight. Meanwhile, we need his raft.
Well, I got rid of all mine. I'm going back to raft now.
No, we haven't time. I think we should have a rehearsal. Don't you, Bilgewater?
I think we'd be crazy if we didn't. Here we are, gentlemen, with the greatest show on earth, straight from the theaters of Europe. And now, gentlemen, David Garrick and Mrs. Siddons in the greatest love story of all time, Romeo and Juliet.
He jests at scars who never felt a wound. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? What light through yonder window breaks? Oh, it is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun. Oh, it is me lady, 'tis me love. Oh, that she knew she were.
She speaks, yet she says nothing. See how she rests her cheek upon her hand. Her cheek upon her hand. Would that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Oh, me.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
Oh, Romeo. Oh, Romeo.
Her tongue doth fail her, this gentle maid. I'll do my best to say what's said. But stony limits cannot hold love out. My lady, my love, by yonder blessed moon, I swear, which gentle They tipped in silver these 3 tops.
Oh, take it easy, Your Majesty.
Oh, let me grasp the whiteness of yonder Juliet's hand and steal immortal blessings from her lip.
You're joking.
Which even now in pure and vestal modesty doth blush, thinking their own kisses sin. Oh, to be or not to be, that is the question.
Hold on, King, here we go.
It's a boy.
Women's soul!
Parting is such sweet sorrow. Run for it, my boy, run for it! Let's get him.
Come on, boy.
Lock that door.
$136.72 and 1 lead nickel from some swindler.
Not bad, not bad. An honest reward for honest effort. And tomorrow we conquer Pikesville.
You are going to get off at Pikesville, ain't you?
Yes, my boy, that's our destination, our journey's end. Why?
Oh, me and Jim will miss you.
But you're coming with us, my boy. You'll be my valet. We'll arrive in style. You wouldn't want to miss that now, would you?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to miss it. What am I going to do with Jim?
We'll moor the raft a little way above town. Leave him on board. We'll take a steamboat. He'll be safe.
Well, Jim and me, we got to float down further than Pikesville. We got to go down about...
Now, I've decided. You're coming with us. I think I'll turn in. What say, Billswater?
I can't exactly say I'm tired yet. Maybe I do need a little sleep.
I just got off the boat from St. Louis. Could you tell me where Mr. Peter Wilks lives?
I'm sorry, sir, but the best thing I can do is tell you where he did live yesterday evening.
Oh, my poor brother.
Gone. You are Peter's brother. I told my wife you was, didn't I, dear?
Yes, dear.
My poor, poor fellow. Of course, this is your brother, William, the one that's afflicted.
Afflicted?
The one Peter said was the tragedy of the family, the one that can't talk.
Oh, of course. Of course. I'm telling it about our poor brother. Our brother who is dead.
My name is Rucker. This is my wife. We knew your brother very well.
My brother frequently wrote me about you and your wife.
Peter and I were old friends. If you wish, I'll show you to his house, or rather the house that was his. I know how happy your nieces will be to see you.
Of course. Lead on. Bring along the baggage. My poor dear girl.
Uncle, Susan and I are so glad you're here.
Then you're...
Mary Jane.
And you're Susan? Mary Jane, Susan, your Uncle William.
How sad you couldn't have been here yesterday. Poor Uncle Peter.
I suppose my poor dear brother's remains are inside. We must be brave.
Now they've met, I think we'd all better leave. Annie?
Oh, no, Mr. Rucker. You and your wife stay for dinner. Uncle Peter would have had it no other way. You and your wife stay too, Mr. Shackelford. We'll all go inside.
Adolphus, you, I mean, follow us. My valet. I hired him in St. Louis.
If you're my uncle's valet, that means you take care of them, doesn't it?
Yes, I reckon that's what it does mean.
Bless you.
What a tragic trick of circumstance that we should arrive 1 day late. If only I could have heard my brother speak. Say my name. Too late.
Oh, Susan, get the letter, please. The one for Uncle Harvey.
Yes, sister.
Uncle Peter wrote a letter to you. His last wishes about the estate. He wanted you and Uncle William to take charge of his unfinished business.
Indeed. Well, we shall be more than happy to do just as he asked. Thank you, my dear. You'll excuse me?
Of course. Oh, Susan, dear, coasters for Mrs. Shackelford and Mrs. Rucker.
Yes, of course. You were right, Mary Jane. It is about the estate. He says something about a strong box. Apparently, this must be the key.
Oh, yes, the strong box is in the library.
Well, I think we ought to see it at once. It may contain some further information from our brother.
Of course, Uncle.
Miss Wilks, don't you think you better kind of wait a
Adolphus. Here, you come with me. Oh, let me help you, my dear. It is heavy, isn't it?
Uncle Peter said something about leaving $2,000 in gold. He said it was to reimburse you and Uncle William for your trip here.
Oh, my poor, generous brother. My dear, do you mind if William and I...
Certainly not, Uncle.
Let me open it. I'll do it. Great Methuselah!
$2,000.
Hey, it's gold.
Amazing.
Let's get out of here.
What? And leave all the rest of this treasure?
But you don't know when they're going to catch on.
We got all the fools in this town on our side, and that's a big enough majority anywhere. Now let's be subtle about this. Do it right. Now, my idea is to take this money in there and give it to our nieces.
You're crazy. Why'd you... I see. And then let them bring along their suspicions, huh? Why, I could hug
that's
you.
the lowest, dirtiest trick I ever heard of in my life.
Well...
putting a show on for those sweet girls out there, putting on like you were full of tears and flapdoodle and robbing them. Well, it's bad enough to take that, but to sell their home.
I'd keep quiet if I was you, my friend. People who help murdering slaves escape the law.
That's different. That's like...
It's a lot worse. Now you come in there and stay with us and keep quiet.
There is no further communication from Peter. But he did leave this. There are $2,000 here. And William and myself have come to a decision in regard to its disposal. We are going to give it to our nieces.
Uncle, how thoughtful and generous of you.
Well, you like your old uncle, eh?
How could we help it?
That's good, because we have another surprise. We are going to take you back to England with us.
Mary Jane, do you hear that?
Oh, indeed I do.
I thought we could sell this place quickly, you know. We can afford to take a little reduction in regard to price because William and myself have enough to take care of us all.
Oh, Captain Brandy.
My dear girl, Susie, dear. Ben, Abner, Elizabeth, Annie.
Captain Brandy. These are Uncle Peter's brothers. Uncle Harvey, Captain Brandy.
It's a pleasure, sir.
The pleasure is certainly mine.
Captain Brandy was Uncle Peter's closest friend. He's the owner and the captain of the River Queen.
And trustee of Peter Wilks' estate.
Well, how do you do, sir? Have you heard our plan about taking our nieces to England and selling the estate?
Yes, I heard it.
And you approve?
Well, that's hard to say. Snap judgment. Wouldn't it be better to talk it over first?
Well, not tonight.
Yes, tonight. Now, you'll excuse us, won't you? We won't be very long. I think your brother had better come, too. And, this boy is your servant?
My valet, sir.
Yes, well, we'll go right into the library. All of us. Come along. You'll excuse us, please?
Certainly.
Gentlemen, we are all men of understanding, are we not?
Of course. Deep understanding.
Then why, may I ask, why don't you take this opportunity
to leave. Leave? Why should we leave?
I have only one reason. I want you to leave.
You're making a fool of yourself. A fool!
You may delude those dear, sweet girls out there, but you cannot deceive me, gentlemen. Englishmen. Bah! Well, you're no more Englishman than that boy there. You're the thinnest kind of imposters.
Ow!
Well, I thought you were supposed to be dumb.
Have you no feeling for those poor girls out there?
That is why I'm giving you this chance to go. I don't wish to make a fuss.
A fuss? There will be no fuss. Why should there be? Mary Jane.
What? Mary Jane.
Oh, what is it, Uncle?
That man, that friend of yours, ordered me out of the house.
Captain Brandy, is this true?
Mary Jane, dear, can't you see these men are swindlers?
But that's impossible.
How could they be swindlers, Brandy? Harvey here knew that I was one of Peter's old friends. Why? Because Peter had written and told him about me. And this poor fellow, Peter's second brother, afflicted with dumbness.
These facts can be easily learned from village gossip, chance remarks. As for him, he yelped loud enough a moment ago when I stepped on his toe.
That scoundrel there literally wrenched a cry of pain from my poor brother. To think that the first sound I should hear him make in 40 years would be one of pain. I'll leave. I'd rather leave and be branded a scoundrel than stay and be doubted.
Uncle Harvey. Uncle Harvey, we don't doubt you. Oh, please don't go. Captain Brandy, I can't think what's made you behave like this. Uncle Harvey, take this. Invest it any way you see fit.
Well done, Mary Jane. I think you had better go, Brandy.
Susan, dear, Mary Jane, take my word for it.
Captain Brandy, I think you'd better leave.
Poor Mr. Wilks.
Oh,
this is terrible to embarrass you like this. I've never heard of anything.
Soft as an angel's wing. Good night, my dear.
Good night, Uncle. Mary Jane and I will sleep soundly tonight, knowing you're here.
We'll all sleep the better for being here. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Uncle William.
Oh, I'll tell Uncle William.
Good night, Adolphus.
No, good night, ma'am.
That Captain Brandy nearly had us in jail. I hope you know that. Why don't we take this and get out of here?
Patience. Patience.
That captain won't give up. He'll be back. Suppose the real uncles turn up. Besides, it's going to take time to sell this place.
Now, I've got an idea whereby we can sell this place in 2 days. Now, what are you doing here?
Well, I just thought maybe I could help you.
Well, you can't. Get out.
Get out.
Yes, sir.
I like that boy less every day. You know, I think he's honest.
Now, this idea...
All right, he's gone.
Well, we'll sell the place at public auction. It's quick, it's easy. We can take the money and get out of town in 2 hours.
My friend.
Now, do you trust my judgment?
Trust your judgment? Why, I trust you.
Hey, could you tell me where Captain Brandy lives, sir?
Oh, surely, son. Up this street to that lane, the first house on the right.
Thank you.
Well, don't you think it would be better if we went around to the house now and you told Mary Jane and Susan everything you've told me?
Oh, no, sir. I couldn't do that. The King and Duke, they tattle on a friend of mine.
Who was that?
I couldn't tell you that, sir. If I did, you wouldn't believe all that I've said. You'd turn me over to the sheriff.
Well, you've trusted me so far. Tell me who it is.
He's a slave. Jim's his name. I'm helping him get to Cairo. The King and Duke know about him. They'd just soon turn him in a spit.
So you were worried about your friend Jim, eh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I bet you think I'm mighty low down, don't you?
And because you're helping a slave to escape? Is he a good Negro?
Best I ever knew.
Then what's wrong with it? You know, there are a lot of people who think just the same as you do.
Don't you go trying to make me out an abolitionist.
Nothing wrong with that, either.
You talk as if you was one yourself.
I am. And if you'll wait until I clear up this matter of this King and Duke of yours, I'll put you and Jim on my steamboat, and I won't let you off until we're in a free state.
Honest? But you ain't half bad. Oh, gosh, I was always told that abolitionist folks were low-down, dirty sort of folk.
No, Huck. I wish you could meet some of them. There's one fellow in particular. He lives in Illinois. He once said to me, Brandy, suppose it is true that the Negro is inferior to the white in the gifts of God. Is it not the exact reverse of justice that the white should take from the Negro any part of the little which he has?
It certainly does sound reasonable. But is he a nice sort of fellow?
A fine sort of fellow. He's a lawyer up there. Name is Lincoln. Abe Lincoln.
Well, I gotta get back to the raft. I gotta tell Jim about the ride to the Free State. What time will we meet you?
You come around early tomorrow morning, and then we'll decide.
Gee, I can hardly wait to tell Jim. Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
Wake up. Some yellow snake has robbed us.
That's that you say?
We've been robbed.
Been robbed?
I'll get out of this thing. We've been robbed.
How'd they get in? It ain't possible to get in here.
We've been robbed.
The door's unlocked.
Yes, and I locked it.
And whoever did it was in here already.
That young snake.
The law's on our side, Billswater. We'll get the sheriff on that young slave stealer.
Yes, and if we find his friend, we'll get an extra 1,000.
Right!
Oh, Jim, make the best wish you can wish.
We're leaving for Cairo.
Better than that, we're going on a steamboat up the Ohio to a free state.
Huck, you ain't fooling Jim, is you?
I ain't fooling. We're leaving tomorrow.
Then tomorrow I'll be free. I'll be free, Huck.
Jumping Gene Hasselfat, I do need a smoke. I didn't want to smoke at the Wilks because they're like the widow. They're the kind of folks you don't get mad at because they don't approve of it. You just feel low down and ornery for doing it.
I'm nearly free at last. You sure been mighty sweet to me, Huck.
And mighty mean, too.
But mostly sweet. And there's one thing I want to tell you before we say goodbye, though.
Oh, we got plenty of time until tomorrow, the day after we land.
I know, Huck, but time goes mighty fast. And after tomorrow, we won't be seeing each other no more. And I want to tell you this before we go. I tried to tell you before, but I couldn't.
Oh, quit talking so low down, Jim. It can't be as bad as all that.
You remember that old wreck of a houseboat we clumb aboard over on the island?
Yeah, it was storming that night.
And I told you there was a dead man on board?
Yeah.
Well, that man was your pap, Huck.
That man was my pap.
Yes, Huck.
Why didn't you tell me, Jim?
I couldn't, Huck.
You knew my pap was dead and you didn't tell me? Why, I thought you was my friend, Jim.
I is.
No, you ain't. You wouldn't have kept quiet if you was my friend. Why, you told told a bigger lie by just sitting there being quiet than you could have told by talking all your life.
I tried to tell you, Huck.
Maybe it was because you thought I'd turn you in, huh? Well, maybe I would have, maybe I wouldn't. But you ain't my friend. What? After I steal for you and lie for you and you keep the truth from me.
Don't go, Huck.
Oh, don't worry. You're going to go free. I'll tell that abolitionist where he can find you. I won't turn you in. And I don't see how anybody would want a thing like you.
Huck. Huck! Don't leave me, Huck.
Leave me alone.
Please, Huck. Look, Huck. Look.
Not that way. See them dogs? This way. We gotta get to a stream. We gotta get to a stream. They went the other way. Now all we gotta do is get back to the river in the raft.
Huck, we give them the dodge. We beat them. Huck, you steal my friend.
Oh, Jim! Oh, Jim, I'm scared.
Now, you just hold on to something there. You ready, Huck?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, Jim. Put me down, Jim. I'm all right. Jim, do most people die who've been bit by rattlesnakes?
No, Huck.
Where are you taking me to?
I've got to get you to a doctor, Huck. Lay quiet, Huck.
Oh, but they'll catch you, Jim. Please let me down. You gotta go free. You gotta get back to your wife and Joey. Put me down, Jim.
We've got to get you to a doctor, Huck.
Oh, Jim. Don't. No, Jim.
I'd like to confirm that statement.
I do feel sorry for them, Captain Brandy.
I imagine they're feeling pretty sorry for themselves at this moment. How is Huck?
The doctor gave him whiskey. He'll be all right now.
I think I'll go upstairs in case I can help.
Oh, Susan. Don't tell Huck about Jim. It won't do him any good to know I had to send Jim back home to be tried.
Wasn't there anything you could do for him, Captain Brandy?
Nothing. There was no doubt about his being wanted for murder. Apparently, he'd been lying to Huck.
Huck will be terribly upset when he finds out about it.
That's why we mustn't let him know for a little while yet.
I didn't kill Huck. Why, I loves him. And he's alive right this minute. He helped me to escape down the river to Pikesville, and then, well, I done told you all the rest of it.
Why, Your Honor, this man's story is a trumped-up lie. We have heard witness after witness testify to the character of Huckleberry Finn. Every one of these witnesses has testified that in their opinion it is highly improbable, more impossible, that Huckleberry Finn would have aided and abetted a runaway slave.
Opinions are of no consequence in this court, Mr. Bartlett.
This man's tale is a pathetic attempt to stave off the inevitable. Your Honor, I believe we can only reach one decision.
Judge Logan.
Yes, Mrs. Douglas.
I feel this case affects my sister and myself more than anyone. We've decided to give Jim one last chance. I'm asking you to appoint someone to travel to Pikesville to investigate Jim's story.
Thanks, Mrs. Douglas. I feel the same as you do. Precaution can certainly do no harm.
Thank you, Judge Logan.
Why, Your Honor, as head of the Citizens Vigilantes Committee, I feel it my duty to warn this court that if a verdict is not passed this day, there's a group of citizens in this town who may see fit to take the law into their own hands.
Mr. Bartlett, you are in contempt. Your behavior is disgraceful, sir.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3 days been here being sick. I figure Jim must be with his family by now, don't you suppose?
Yes, I suppose he is.
Yeah. Old Jim's in a free state by now. Gosh, I'd give anything to see him meet his wife and Joey. Joey's his son. Tell me, how did Jim look when Captain Brandy told him he was going to be free? I'll bet his face was just one big smile, huh?
Yes, he was very pleased.
Good old Jim. His best friend anybody ever had.
Don't talk like that.
Why? Why not talk like that?
Well, maybe he wasn't such a good friend to have. Maybe he wasn't much good.
What are you talking like that for?
Well, nobody could be your best friend who was wanted for murder.
Murder? How'd you know?
Captain Brandy told me.
When? How?
When he handed him in. He had to, Huck, when he found out he was wanted. He had to send him back.
Send him back? I gotta get to Jim.
You can't get out.
You can't keep me here.
I'll call Captain Brandy.
Water. Water. Water.
Here.
Get me some cool water, please.
Oh, just lie still, Huck. I'll get it.
Oh.
Huck, come on back with me.
Let me go, Captain.
Now, Huck, don't break your heart. Not for Jim. He's not worth it. He's being tried for murder.
He's being tried for murdering me, but I ain't dead, am I? Jim couldn't murder anybody.
They'll give him a chance to prove it. He'll be treated justly.
But he's a slave. They'll try and kill him. They tried to kill him once before. Please, you gotta let me go.
But you can't do it this way. The road upriver is flooded.
I'll get to him, flood or no flood.
Wait. Come back with me. I'll take you on the River Queen.
Will you, Captain? Oh, thanks.
She's under full pressure, Captain.
Keep her that way.
Yes, sir.
Doing everything we can, Huck.
Yes, sir.
What them men doing out there?
Probably just curious.
I don't like them standing out there. They weren't there before.
It don't mean nothing. Even if it did, we'll take care of you.
Here, you eat something, Huck.
Thank you, sir.
How's you feel, Tom?
River's rising. We ain't making what we should.
Poor kid.
You remember, Jim. I know you remember him because you helped him once before. Well, you gotta help him again tonight. Just because you're big, you ain't got no right to be mean. You gotta help him. If you don't, I won't never pull a skiff on you no more. I won't never swim in you no more. I will never see you again if you don't help Jim.
There he is! Stroker, boys. See if you can blow her up.
Making good time, Huck.
Yeah, we're passing Barker's plantation. You can pull her in close to shore. Here we can make better time. There's no current and it's deeper.
Take her in close.
We're in too close now.
And when I took this office, I gave my oath to do my duty. I'm asking you to disperse.
Watch out for yourself, Sheriff!
Huck, boy. Where is you?
I ain't responsible for her, Captain. We're too close.
Hold her there. We're making better time.
She's hit.
That sandbar's 10 feet underwater. She'll make it.
You rip a bottom out, Captain.
She'll make it.
Full speed ahead.
I won't hold her. I'm putting her astern.
Hold her. What are you doing?
Taking her out in deep water.
And fight that current? No, you're not. You know this crossing, Huck?
I know every foot of this river, sir.
Then take her.
Why don't somebody come and help me?
I'll shoot her, tell you I'll shoot.
Go on and shoot, go on and shoot.
You'll get what he gets.
Give me those keys.
Hey, look, Huck Finn. Huck, it's me, Huck Finn. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. Me, Huck Finn. Hey, wait a minute. It's me, Jim. Jim, look, you're on the line. He didn't murder me.
Open that door.
Jim.
Huck.
It's all right, Jim.
Still, he did run away, Huck.
Yes, ma'am. I've got something to say if I can. It's about Jim's running away. I know you're going to hate me after I say it, but, well, I've gone an awful long way, ma'am, since I seen you last. And, well, the further I got and the more human beings I met, the more I got to feel that no human being has the right to own another human being. Human beings make enough mess out of their own lives without messing another human beings. That's why I'm asking you to please let Jim go free.
I'll do what you ask, Huck. But only on several conditions.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to school? You come and live with me here? You wear shoes? And that you quit smoking?
What?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I promise all those things.
Bye, Jim! Goodbye, Huck. Bye!
I don't think he can see you now, Huck.
No, ma'am. Positively, ma'am. This must have been one I forgot about.